Hello, this is day 3 of my 7-day challenge where I'm working with Paul McKenna and his fabulous book, Change Your Life in 7 Days. I'm really enjoying this book. Like I said, he works a lot with NLP, hypnosis, all kinds of things like that, and it's really similar to the work that I do. Now, today is called The Power of a Positive Perspective. The Power of a Positive Perspective. Now, I've done a lot of work on myself, including NLP, a lot of faster EFT recently, which I have found to be the quickest, deepest, most efficient way to get to the root cause of many of our problems. And the biggest shifts that have occurred for me, when I think now and I think consciously about them, have been to do with a change in perspective. A change in the way that I approach something, think about it, what I believe about it. There is no one way to do anything, and yet we are human. We like things to be ordered and nice, and we like comfort, we like normalcy, we like it to be a certain way. And we get so stuck in this pattern that sometimes that pattern, it works for us most of the time until we get to one thing and it just jars with it. And if you can step back and take a look at it from a different angle, it's just plain sailing. That's kind of what this whole chapter is about. It's huge. It's a huge, huge chapter. I can't possibly talk about all of it. There's lots and lots of work to do in it. But what he does talk about in this chapter is 7 key beliefs of successful people. Now, these are all things you probably already know. I certainly did. But the key to this, and why I really, really want to share this, is because I know personally, I have not been applying these key beliefs. I know them, yeah, it all makes sense. You know, when we're told stuff like this, it usually does make sense. So, oh, yeah, of course, that's how it is. And yet, I know I don't apply it, so I want to share it with you just in case you are experiencing a similar thing, that maybe one of these things, one of these beliefs that I share with you will put a light bulb on, or just make you think about something slightly differently so you can just shift something in your life. This is what this is about. So, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to start here. The 7 key beliefs of high achievers is what he says. So the first one, you are the expert on you. You are the expert on you. This really rang true with it without even reading what it was about. I have struggled a lot in my life making decisions. I've always said, oh, I'm a leaver, I can't make up my mind. I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not sure. You know, all that kind of nonsense. But what I've really learned is how to trust myself and different methods of making decisions. And the last big decision I made, really big decision, I made without telling anybody. I didn't tell anyone. And for 3 days, I mulled it over and I sat with it and I felt how I felt about it. And when I made the decision, then I told people, because I am the expert on me. We weren't dealing with logic. I wasn't dealing with logic. I very rarely do. When it comes to decisions, the logical version is usually not the one that needs to happen. And so everyone else was going to give me wonderful, loving advice and support, but they were coming at it from their point of view, from their lives, from their expertise in what they know, which is not what I know. So that's one thing. You are the expert on you. You are the only one living your life, coming from where you've come from. So the point he wants to make with this is that when we stop looking outside ourselves, looking in all the wrong places for everything we need, we can stop, come within. We have all the answers. We do. We already have all the answers that we need, but we need to start looking inside us. Now, this is especially key when you're looking at relationships, because in relationships, I find this is the biggest place where people, me included, are looking outside for things, love, stuff, attention, approval, whatever it might be. It doesn't come from outside. You are the expert on you. You know everything you need to know already. Okay, so belief number 2. Oh, I love this one. I just made a video about this. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You're not broken. what happens is that as a very young child, we start taking on all these other beliefs, all these systems, these rules, all these things that we feel like we have to do in order to survive, to have the love that we want, the attention that we need. And very often, because you've learned it as a child, as you grow up, these habits, behaviors are no longer necessary, but we keep playing them. Our unconscious is so clever. It's kept it there to keep us safe, so we don't even have to think about that stuff anymore. And yet it's giving us undesired results. And that is the point. We start going, there's something wrong with me. Oh, I'm broken. And it's just not true. It's just not true. In fact, we are so successful. We just need to change those little patterns and programs that we've got going. And this is coming at it from a different perspective. That's the point. Okay, number 3. You already have all the resources that you need to succeed. You already have all the resources you need to succeed. Now this was a huge, I'll go back to the decision making thing. For example, I can't make decisions. Oh, you decide. I'm really bad at making decisions. It's bullshit. That's what I used to say to myself, and it's absolute bullshit. I get up in the morning, I decide whether to have a shower or not. I decide what I'm going to wear. I decide what I'm going to eat that morning, what time I'm going to eat, where I'm going to go. I make decisions constantly. It's just that some decisions, I had a belief about them being more important than others. And when I started to shift the perspective, shift the way I looked at things, shift the belief, it's not true. I make decisions all the time. Of course I can make decisions. I'm brilliant at making decisions. So you see, you do have all the resources you need, and it's just coming at it from a different perspective. Where else do you have confidence? Where else do you have strength? Where else do you have an abundance of love? You know, whatever the challenge is, you can probably find it somewhere in your life. You already have everything you need. It just needs maybe a little bit of refocusing, reshifting perspective. Okay, number 4. You can accomplish anything if you break the task down into small enough chunks. You can do anything if you break the task down into little pieces, baby steps, one step at a time. You can't eat the whole elephant, but if you chop it up into tiny pieces. In fact, I've just remembered, he gives an example of a guy who ate an airplane. A little bit crazy, but okay, everyone needs a goal. And this guy ate an aeroplane. No, he didn't sit in front of the aeroplane with a knife and fork and probably drill or chainsaw or something. He didn't just do that and say, all right, let's go. He broke it down into tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces and ate a little bit every single day. And he says it took a couple of months. I didn't look it up because I was just like, I believe you, Paul. That's fine. It's fine. I'm sure he did it. But the point is, this huge, monstrous goal that we have sometimes doesn't get achieved because we keep looking at this huge, monstrous goal instead of looking at the tiny, tiny piece of metal or whatever it is that you're taking a bite at a time of. And this was a big one for me. Sometimes I have these huge, lofty goals. I love setting standards and goals and everything else, but I get so frightened because they seem too big. And if you can chunk it down in any way at all, brainstorm, get a partner, do some mind mapping, do whatever you need to do. But how can you break it down into little steps to make it much easier for yourself? I liked that one. All right, number 5. If what you're doing isn't working, do something else. Have you ever been guilty of this? Doing something over and over and over again, and you're just hitting a brick wall and it's not working, you got to keep going at it. And we do this as humans, we do this. Everyone does it to some degree or another. I usually do it with technology. Technology, well, I'm supposed to do this and it's not working, and it's just about thinking outside of the box, taking a step back and coming at it from a different angle. If it's not working, try something different. Just try something different. I'm talking to me. Okay, number 6, there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. What he also says is, people don't fail. Plans and ideas do. Oh gosh, that made me feel good. I have huge things about failure. So when I hear that the plans and ideas that I come up with were the ones that failed, it makes me feel strong. It's okay, we just think of another one that will succeed then. Okay, it's just feedback. So I think it's Colonel Sanders, the KFC guy. He went and he asked about his chicken. He had this amazing chicken recipe, and he went to all these restaurants. He's like, try this chicken recipe, sell it, and give me some of the profits, whatever. And restaurant after restaurant just kept saying no, 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 no. And he said, instead of I've failed 1,000 times, I found a restaurant who doesn't want it, so I can move on to the next. It's feedback. I think Paul McKenna talks about Edison. I found ways of it not working. I found a way. Successfully found something that doesn't work, rather than I failed. And it's just, again, it's just a shift in perspective. I love it. I think it's a wonderful way to start looking. Again, they're just words. This doesn't mean anything until you start applying it to your life, until it starts to mean something to you. Is there something that you feel like you're failing at? Can you look at it a different way? Can you reframe it so that it becomes something positive for you? Last one. You are creating your future now. Right now. You're creating your future right now. So if you could look 5 years in the future, taking into account everything that you're doing now, not what you think you should be doing, everything, but what you're doing right now, 5 years in the future, are you going to get, be, have, do everything that you want to be? If you can answer yes, great. Doesn't matter. If you answer no, which is what most people do, including myself, when I was thinking about something, it's like, oh, of course. Because I keep looking into my past rather than looking into now. I keep looking into past for my answers, which is what we do. It's so natural. We learn things, we have experiences, our unconscious takes them on board so that we don't have to make the same mistakes again. And yet, if you're hanging on to the failures, the bad decisions and everything else, and you're carrying this with you, trying to get up that hill of this massive lofty goal, you're not going to be getting anywhere. What is it that you can change right now? The tiny, tiny little change that can shift your whole direction and get you where you need to be going. I always talk about the ship in the ocean, a tiny, tiny speck of a ship in the ocean, and it's got its trajectory and it knows where it's going. If it were to shift just 1 degree slightly, after a couple of days you wouldn't really notice anything. After a couple of weeks, it would be in a slightly different direction. After a month or two, it is heading in a completely different place. It might have been heading for Shitsville Island and it's heading for paradise now, just from that tiny, tiny shift. So what can you do right now that's really going to make a difference? Is it meditating every morning? Is it making an effort to say, you know what, I'm going to meditate for 10, 15 minutes every morning because I know I need that clarity of mind? Is it shifting something in your diet? Is it thinking more positively about your job or your relationships? Is there one small thing that you can do to just help propel you forward in the direction you want to go in? It's already a long video. I just wanted to share all this though because I think it's fantastic. I think I've also decided I'm going to continue reading this book every week for the next couple of months because I feel like there's so much good information and it's a variety. I love variety and I love working in new ways, shifting perspectives, trying new exercises, applying them. So I'm going to keep going with this, but just for now, see if you can find a shift in perspective. And let me know how you get on. Leave some comments. It'd be great to hear if anyone else wants to have a go at this as well. I'll be continue to do it. Me and Paul, we're best mates right now. So I'll be involved. I'll see you tomorrow for day 4. Bye-bye.